Cool. This is Savion Young. I'm on the Say Something podcast. I got something to say. This is my guest today, homie / artist / curator /
creative director, all that and above. And she got something to say, y'all. So you already know the deal. Huh? Tyra.
Hold on. I'm gonna let you do that one. So Tyra Billy, we're gonna get to know her and her story of where she's come, and also something meaningful in her story that she has to share. And I'm excited for this time, and a kind of a reunion for us. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Been a minute. So she used to go to Regent, but she's off to better things in Norfolk State, right?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about you. You go and tell people who you are, like where you are.
I'm a full-time artist. I did go to Regent. I was pursuing my MDiv, but like it was like a dream deter type situation. So I wanted to go to Norfolk State first to get my master's in art. They rejected me, but delayed doesn't always mean denied.
Oh, no.
So I came here for 8 months, and they called me and told me to apply. And I got in, so now I'm getting this MFA. It's kicking me a little bit, but it's cool. It's really a full circle moment. They're proud to be there.
You got a scholarship, right?
They offered me a fellowship.
Okay, fellowship. Okay.
Yeah, they offered me a fellowship, so I'm working on that right now. Yeah.
So how is your art? Like, where are you in that? Like, what's going on there? Let people know.
I'm in this phase right now in school where I'm supposed to be developing my thesis and what I'm trying to say in my art. So my goal is, I come from a background of Caribbean family, and I was raised kind of prejudiced. You know this, right? Right. I hate to say it like that, but it's just like this big gap and divide between Black Americans and Caribbean Black people. So my art is actually centered around that. And how I'm starting that right now in school is I'm idolizing rap artists or hip hop artists and reggae artists to show that something we have in common in the Black community, period, is we love music. And we love music. So the same way that Black Americans love these hip hop artists, Caribbean people love reggae artists. And it's like you wouldn't imagine that, but the similarities in the way that we act and the connections that we feel to these people and their music and their creation, it's the same. It's the same. So I'm making the portraits to kind of allow people from the different cultures to come and see my work, and also have that shared experience for people other artists that they may not know. I don't know if you're familiar with Chronixx. That's my favorite reggae artist, right? But you know who Tupac is.
Of course.
So kind of I'll put those two people next to each other, and that way I have this experience with Chronixx, you have this experience with Tupac, but we get what we're feeling.
Yes.
Even though the music and artists are different.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's cool that you're bridging that gap together, because it's like, aren't we all brothers and sisters?
Yeah, exactly.
Why do we have to be so separated? And we know we're stronger together. We're stronger as one. And
absolutely.
We got all the division, but that's cool, because you're really getting creative within uniting people.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Because I seen some of your art, and I didn't really know the story behind some of the paintings that you painted. I just know, you're an amazing artist.
Thank you.
But now that makes sense. And I think people outside that community get a taste of that kind of feel of our culture and stuff as well, and can appreciate that and be like, oh snap, okay, maybe I can learn something.
Exactly, that's the whole point. That's my biggest thing, is just that feeling when you're into whoever your favorite artist is, right? It doesn't matter if my favorite artist is different from yours. We can agree on that, therefore we can be friends. Based off of that feeling alone, and knowing that I'm human, you're human, and we're having this shared human experience.
Yeah. That's what's y'all really, we just vibing, there's no set conversation. I had it, but we just flowing. So yeah. So the process of being an artist, right, and a painter, where did it start, and what were the challenges for you in coming out, and in some of the seasons you've had, and also some of the accomplishments that you felt were amazing as well, or some of the future goals that you have? What is kind of that look like? Give us a little out.
Oh, man, that's a long story, and then go way back. I'm gonna try to concise a little bit on. But I discovered that, you know, I could draw and stuff when I was probably like 12 years old. And to make a...
They didn't just... Okay, so hold up.
Yeah.
Your parents didn't just tell you that you could draw. Could you really draw? Because you know parents, when you tell them,
all right,
that's good, man. Come on, keep going, man.
I'm going to have to tell you because I drew a portrait of Tupac, right?
And that's the one you posted?
Yeah. Because I literally just revisited that. Like, I've never drawn him again since then. And I was, I was 13 actually, right? But for a 13-year-old to draw somebody and you can look at it and know who it is, I think that's pretty much like.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Stick figure.
All right, no, but like it was cool. And then
with a bandana. Who that?
No, I don't know. No, but it was. I think I did a pretty good job, right? And I decided I wanted to go to high school for art. And in high school, I just was like so against being an artist. Like, that's the crazy thing. It took me up until my freshman year of college. I went to school to be a lawyer, right?
Okay.
And I changed my major like 5 times, and I was about to drop out because I was just like, yo, like, I hate school. Why am I even, why am I even doing this? And I met my big, and she was in like the theater program or something. So she was like, come to this art show with me. And it was their senior reviewer show or something that they were having. And I was like, yo, I'm about to do this. I'm about to do this. So I changed my major, and even all through college, I was so terrified still to pursue being a professional artist. And it wasn't until I think I already graduated, and that year I was working as an artist, and that's when I had my come to Jesus moment. Like, I really found God, and my faith just changed the whole like trajectory of my life at that point, because that was the first moment where I didn't know what to do, and I was still trying to run from being an artist. And that's how I ended up here, because I'm like, all right, God, what's the word? Like, I don't really know you like that, but I know you know me. So just tell me what to do. And at that point in time, I had just got rejected from Norfolk State. So I come here, and I'm like, this is not what I want to do, Jesus. Like, why are you bringing me to this Christian school to pursue you? But it's crazy because now looking back on that experience, right, how I started this, delayed is not always denied. I really feel like coming here for the 8 months or 2 semesters, whatever that I was here, was so integral in me growing as an artist. Because during that time, I didn't have no car. So I was literally here all the time. And I think that last semester, like, my classes were fully online. And I was creating, like, just creating nonstop. And the series of work that I created is what I emailed to the chair of the art department
to get into
at Norfolk State. And he called me 3 months later and was like, apply. You're coming here this fall. Like, so it's just a whole, like, full circle moment of me going through being terrified of being an artist to saying, all right, I'm doing this, and still not knowing what to do, how I want to do it. And now I'm like, I'm all in. I'm all in. But I feel like I really needed that time to just tap in with God, like, for real, because understanding that he created us, right? And he blessed each of us with a gift.
A gift, yes.
But sometimes we just be scared to use it. And I really had to talk to myself, like, how dare you receive this gift, the same gift that God holds, because he's the creator of all creations, right?
That part.
He gifted me the gift to create things. And I'm going to be like, oh, no, I don't really, I'm scared. I don't want to do it. Like, right? And then every time I've tried to do something else in my life, it has failed other than pursue that gift. So I'm like, once we connected in that way, and I was like, okay, like, leaping in that will appear, right? Like, everything has kind of just fallen into place. Now I got more goals.
Of course.
Actually, my goal is to open my own art space.
Okay.
That will be a gallery / coffee shop, and also a place to teach people. But like an open space for people to just try things.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a bunch of people that are probably like me who are terrified to just get into it, you know? And it's like, literally, all you have to do is open the can. Just open the can. And then everything else will kind of fall into place.
Well, that's awesome.
Thank you.
The journey.
Not for sure. It's been quite a
The
journey.
journey and that full circle with coming here. And then, like, you mentioned something like you didn't have a whole lot of, like, you didn't have transportation. It was a hard kind of, you didn't have a lot of things.
Yeah.
But what you did have was a gift.
Yeah.
What you did have, what you could do is create.
Yes.
And, like, that's encouragement for anybody is, like, you can not have a lot of things, but you can still create.
Yes.
Like, you can still do something.
That.
And that's like a start of any art. I mean, just creating something is like, you have to start off with nothing.
No, for real.
To make it into something.
Yes, exactly that. If I can tell you, like, the year before that, I went and I want to say, you know, I had everything, like all the material worldly things, right?
Yeah.
And I invested like $10,000 into my art career. It's like supplies and things. This is 2022.
Okay.
Right. But at that time, I had a car, had a crib, all of that. And I never made the time. So when I came here, I still have all these art supplies that I've had for like a year. I'm not using nothing. I'm not doing nothing.
Right.
But when I didn't have no car, let me tell you something. I was in that room creating, and now it's a year later. This is like a year ago around this time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, that's the most work and valuable work that I have probably produced in my life.
Wow.
To date, because I would just be up all night, all day, just painting and working. And it's like, you know, sometimes you got to sit down. And I feel like it's easy for us to get like angry at the Lord. Like, why are you doing this? I was just talking about this morning. I'm like, yo, last year at this time, I thought that I was like so unhappy with where I was, right? But looking back on it, look at where that work has brought me now. And now that I'm actually in school, I'm working full time as an artist, and I'm doing all the things that I want to do. The biggest thing that I find myself struggling with is having the time and space to sit down and create. And I'm just like, yo, last year, first time, like, I need that. But at that time, I couldn't imagine this, you know what I mean? I was just like, yo, please get me out of this situation. Like, I don't want to be here, you know?
Wow. That's good. That's good. The reflection, I think, is like, we forget, you know, about how he created and ordered a lot of our steps and stuff.
All of them.
All of it. All of it.
Everything has fallen into place how it should. And it's like, there's just no way that I could do this. And I feel like anytime I have a conversation with people about, you know, it's like, you're an artist. Like, yeah, like, that's what you do for a living. Nothing else. Yes, that, right?
Yeah.
And people always say how. And I just be like, it was not him. I can tell you 100% it ain't Tyra.
Yeah.
It's him. It's him.
Big him.
I don't know. I couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to quit and go get a regular job. And he'd be like, yeah, okay, do it. Watch this.
Yo, that's awesome. Shout out to all the artists that are out here. Full-time artists.
Yeah.
Because what you mean?
The only reason I said that is because I feel like people tend to be hard on themselves. Like, even if you're not a full-time artist or you're not doing like exactly what you want fully, and you feel like you're not doing enough, if your heart is in it and you put whatever time you can and you're able to into it,
still,
it counts.
Yeah.
It counts. Like, don't take that for granted.
Yeah. And like hanging around like artists like you, Sonny, and like other artists as well. I mean, there's been so many people I've been able to meet within the community. What's his name? He paints a lot of growth green. Chris Green.
That's right. Yeah.
Like hanging around artists, I think is just it ignites like more creativity in me to want to create more, just because I'm inspired by the people and I'm seeing like original and just creative, like I love it. And it just makes me like, so when I do like my pieces and stuff, sometimes like, I'll take a time off and be like, I'm not, I don't feel like, writing or today or something, but I go to an event and I'm like, dang, I want to write.
Yeah, I know how that
It's just like the amount of like, it's like, it's contagious. I feel like the creativity is contagious in a way.
I fully agree.
Where you just want to like create, because I see somebody's like doing their thing and it's like, I don't want to compare myself, but I want to do my thing. I just want to do more, like put more of my stuff out there. So it's cool. Just each time I get in a creative space, like I feel that. So you talked about kind of your story, right? And I think the biggest thing, what would you say when it comes to what do you want people to know when they look at your art, when it comes to just anything you share? Like, what do you want people to see? What do you want people to know? Like,
my biggest thing for anybody when they're looking at my work is to recognize that we're in this great big world and we are not alone. I think that in our current society with social media and all this instant gratification and access to each other and things in the world, it can easily feel like, or make somebody feel very small. And it's like, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, okay, we probably are, the world is huge, but what I started out saying earlier is we're all human having a human experience, and that alone we can share and literally empathize and have compassion with one another. So when it comes to my work, anything that I create is to show that like I'm human.
yeah.
So if you've ever had this emotion or feeling or whatever it is, I want you to see and feel that when you're looking at my work and recognize that I was only able to create this because I share that with you. That's my biggest thing, is just unity and empowerment in people and loving one another, because for me, it's just like, there's too much hate right now.
Oh, for sure.
There's too much hate. There's too much divide, and people are scared to talk about the messed up things, Yeah. And that's why I was telling you about the series that I'm working on right now. It's like, it's rooted in prejudice that I was raised in, right? And I talk about that so openly, and it's something that I could easily be ashamed of, but there's a lot of prejudice people out there. So I would rather talk about it, because we can literally come together and say like, not together in prejudice. Not that. I feel like I sounded like I was going out of path. No, not that. But just to acknowledge that, like, you can have that experience and be that person and heal and grow from it. And you don't have to be ashamed of this ugly part of you that exists, because there's ugliness within all of us, right? But there's also love in all of us. And if you meet each other with compassion and that love, it still just brings us together. So I want to talk about the messed up stuff. Yeah, show me you're ugly.
Yeah.
Because I'm showing mine. When you look at my work, that's what you see in is raw emotion,
Yeah.
And you may not think it's that deep, but if you ask me, I'm going to tell you.
That's real. What you were saying, it's like something that I wanted out of this podcast as well, is like just a space where we can be raw. Like a place where some of the stuff that I've shared has been hard for me because of my pride sometimes, of wanting to have this image versus like embracing the story. Because I was explaining like to somebody, like, it isn't necessarily, it's all a part of your story. Like, just because your chapter 1 is ugly doesn't mean your chapter 5, 6, and 7 have to be the same way.
Exactly.
But best believe chapter 1 has helped. It shaped you. The ugly part, that ugly part has shaped you into who you are now. Yeah. And just that kind of reminds me of what you said. But talking more about the prejudice thing, where are you now with it? Like, throughout the paintings, like, what is your thought process like behind the paintings that you're doing, like, do you find yourself healing in that through your painting and things like that? And what's that like?
Absolutely. I love Black people. I love everybody that's Black. And that's why, like, I feel like I've come to this realization, honestly, before I even started this series, right? When I moved here from New York City, which is like predominantly Caribbean Black people, to the South in America, Virginia, right, where it's all African Americans and there's barely any Caribbean people.
Right.
That was the first time in my life where I was like, wow, like being around all these people, and I've been taught so much about Black people being rude, and I'm like, but I'm Black and I'm American. I was born here, right? But coming here and getting this experience and being the minority now,
Right.
it has taught me so much about how much we have in common. And that is what has inspired me to make the work. And my biggest goal now is like, now I know this, everybody in the world has to know. Like, for real. And all I know, it's like people who are born in Africa, all the different countries, African people and African Americans, Caribbean people, Africans, African Americans. Like, it's this huge divide. And it's like, yo, do y'all not know that we're literally the same? Like, not just, okay, because we look the same, we're Black and brown skinned people, but like culture-wise, food, music, the way we act, the mannerisms,
all of that.
You would just put the pride aside to get to know somebody.
That part.
You would acknowledge and be aware of that. So in my work, I'm like, I know it. I don't feel like, I don't even consider myself to be any type of prejudice at this point. If you are not nice person, that's just who you are. It has nothing to do with, you know, your background or whatever. So I'm like, yo, to me, that's an epiphany. It's the biggest light bulb of my life, and I need everybody to have it. Everybody.
Because the way we do things is really like I feel like we could honestly go to any of these, like we can go to Africa, like the Caribbean, like, and still be a great time.
Yes.
It's still a great time.
Like, it all comes together. Like, I want to say there are some foods, and I'm just going to throw something random out there. There's a thing called black pudding, right? I'm Guyanese, and it's disgusting. I would never eat it, right? I don't even want to explain what that is.
Okay, don't worry.
But coming here, I had my first ever like American boyfriend when I was probably like 19, right? I met his family. They're from Richmond, Virginia. And they have the same exact thing that I was talking about, black pudding, but they call it, I think, blood pudding, which is still, it's the same, it's disgusting.
Like blood pod?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But I know it's the same exact thing. And I'm like, never in a million years would a Caribbean person know that Americans are eating that disgusting thing too. And vice versa.
I think it might be mud pie though. I don't.
It's cow blood and rice.
Oh no.
Yes, wrapped in like a intestine. It's nasty.
No, it's not. No, it's definitely not that. Definitely not that. But I do love me some oxtails.
All right. Oxtail.
Oxtail. Okay, help me out. We trying to bring it.
That's what
we're trying to win the crowd.
That's what I'm saying. So they would say oxtails. You know it's American. You know it's American. It going to taste right. Oxtail is Jamaican.
Okay,
but it's okay.
Okay,
it's the same food. And we can come together and we can work on it.
Okay, that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. Build a bridge. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, this is something I mentioned in one of my pieces where for me, in growing up in like church or a Christian space, like I felt the need that I felt like I had to hide my blackness and where I came from, like not offend the people around me. Because I grew up like mainly around white people. I definitely grew up around, of course, my black family and stuff. But I really didn't have a whole lot of like diversity growing up and stuff. It was mainly white. So being in a lot of white spaces, I felt like that, like me talking about my blackness would offend them. Mm-hmm. And then I started to realize and then also within church as well, and talking about like being proud to be black and stuff like that. It's like, oh, hold up. No, we need to see color. We don't need to see color and stuff like that. And The more I look at who God is, the more I look at my people, the more I look at our history. Like, I feel like, just looking at what we were talking about, let's look at creation. Like, there's beauty in diversity. And, like, why do I need to hide where I came from to suit other people's feelings just because they, for one, or you're creating a divide, but not necessarily like, you know, when people mention, like, don't talk about race because you're creating division. It's like, no, like, if you don't see my race, you don't see me.
Exactly.
And that doesn't change. I know who I am. Like, I'm still a King's kid. That doesn't change. Right. But we all have something to bring when it comes to these different cultures that we come from. Mm-hmm. But that shouldn't divide us. It should unite us. But people aren't open to learning what you were saying. Right. Like, you had to open up to American and being Black and things. And and all these things. It just takes, I don't think people have the openness nor the grace to actually be compassionate in a way where I can learn something from this culture. I can learn something from this culture. Maybe, like, that's something we can use in here. So just being open to that was kind of challenging, but also, like, it's teaching me that I appreciate some of my white friends. I appreciate some of my Hispanic friends. I appreciate some, like, is it Guyanese? Guyanese. I want to say it right. Guyanese friend. Give me grace. But like, that is, I find so much value in that because I'm able to learn and touch and just get this not narrow mindset, but a broader mindset of, like, the world is larger than I could ever think. And I got these people from here and there, and it just makes me appreciate who God is more and also appreciate where people come from.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself, like, when it comes to, you know, how you choose your friends or what groups you go to, even in school or wherever, like, leaning towards people you're comfortable with, or do you kind of seek the uncomfort? Like, what does that look like?
Well, honestly, it depends. It depends. I just want to make a quick note about what you were saying. I feel like a problem that we have in our society right now is thinking that my pride for who I am means that, like, I think less of who you are. And those two things are not synonymous at all. But to answer your question, granted, it depends on my environment. Like, in general, I'm kind of a loner. But with time, I feel like that's another part of the reason why God put me here at this predominantly white Christian institution. You know, I was like, wow. And I went to Hampton University, you know, HBCU. Yeah. It was different. It was very different. And I definitely found myself wanting to seek what is comfortable and known to me, but being placed in an environment where it's just not there. You're kind of forced to open up a little bit. But I'm grateful for that experience because I have developed some very great friendships with people that I never would have thought that, you know, I would have otherwise.
All right.
So now I definitely do still lean towards my people and my culture, but at the same time, I'm not completely shut down how I was in the past to just anybody that's different or new. Like, literally last night I was out and I met a whole bunch of people of different races, and it was the most random thing ever. I did not expect it, but I had a great time. It was great vibes, and I'm just like, you know, I'm all this talk about unity and stuff, right? I need to open my mind in ways to just be accepting. So it's like, if we vibe, we vibe. That's kind of it.
Yeah. And it's like you're painting that, but you get to live this reality as well.
Right.
Because you're bridging it, but it's like, oh, there's also this living part that, like, makes it even more powerful because I'm in this, you know, creating. And you're creating that space for openness.
No, you're right. You're right. But I did think the note that I have to make about that is, like, with my work and my whole mindset on that is division in the Black community. So different cultures. Yes. So that's where it's like, it's different when it comes to actual other races and cultures than my own. I'm not prejudiced at all, but it's like still being open to just receive and, like, meet people, you know? I am. And honestly, I feel like if I was in the environment where I could just meet more people, that would be great too. But I'm at another HBCU now, so kind of like whoever's there, you know?
For sure. It's to think about, like, just because I'm proud of who I am, I'm proud of my culture, it does not diminish yours.
Yes.
Like, you should be proud too.
Exactly. I need to eliminate that, because I think that's one of those things that I was kind of talking about, where we can literally bond over our pride in our own culture, rather than being like, so what you trying to say? Like, nothing.
Yeah. So you better than me.
Right.
You better mine's better than ours.
Love me, and do you love you? I want to love you too. Love me too, you know?
Nah, it's like that kind of connection is like different, and something just we need to seek to open up to. So that's a challenge for everybody. Like, seek to love. Like, that is the biggest thing, because love covers a lot of things. And I think that love and the gateway of just that in general can just be a gateway and an opening to getting to know people and to get to know their story, not just for any male act or purpose toward one another, but like actually a purpose of getting to know, this person has a story. This person came from a culture that maybe be different from me, and let me see what's up. Like, we all got a story to tell, and our culture is a part of that. Our faith is part of that. Where we came from, our upbringing is a part of that.
Yeah.
It's not separate. It doesn't become separate. It is all of who you are, literally, right now in this second. So for the challenge for you, what was it like going from New York, you said primarily Black Caribbean, to here? And I want you to talk a little bit more about like the things that you kind of agree with, or kind of just you still kind of wrestling with now being here.
I feel like it was definitely a culture shock.
Okay.
It was a culture shock, but I can't say like now I feel ingrained here. Like, I would never go back and live in New York City again. Forever. I wouldn't. The South is such a pleasant place, and it felt almost kind of like the biggest struggle I could say that I had was the food. Okay, like, I love my Caribbean food, and just in New York in general, any kind of cuisine or anything you want, you can get there. And here, it's like I've been forced to learn how to cook all my mom and my grandma's meals that I want from back home.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing, because I felt like coming here, I expected something so ignorant. Like, I expected all of the stereotypes that I grew up hearing and learning. And then I came here, and everybody is nice, and pretty much polite. And like I said, if you're just a jerk, you're just a jerk. But that's like a one-off thing. So now I don't really have any challenges. It's still the food. Like, okay, I want curry chicken. I don't want to go to the local Jamaican spot and get the curry chicken.
Yeah.
They've been living here for 20 years. They curry chicken got too much gravy on it. It's stuff like that. But in terms of like actual people, I've learned from living in New York for 18 years and then being here for the past 6 years now, I'm like, it's actually kind of better.
Okay.
And I feel like I don't get a lot of hate about that, but just in terms of being in a place that is nice and there's community, and I'm like, wow, like the audacity of my culture and my people to really put down this other group and culture, and we don't even have that same type of communal environment amongst us as is here.
For real?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I would say in New York, absolutely not, but also New York City just is like that.
Well, yes,
like every man for himself, survival mode and stuff like that. I'm like, being a young Black woman and moving to a whole different state by myself, and I have no family here, like, I feel safe and comfortable. Like, I feel like everything is fine. People are kind. And that's been honestly such a huge, like, beautiful thing for me, because I was like, wow, I really spent all this time thinking these trifling people. Now look, the same trifling people got me feeling I have friends turn family, you know?
Yeah.
Lifelong relationships developed, and it comes from me opening my mind and not being afraid to just step out on everything I've been taught.
That part.
Yeah, but you know, people don't want to do the scary thing.
True.
But I also want to mention, because what you were saying before too, like, it takes grace, I think. I feel like if somebody meets you with that attitude of, because you're taking pride in yourself and your culture, right? And they're taking that in a way where they feel like you're putting them down, even through that, loving them. I think that's a hard thing to do.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, it's not at all. Not at all. So it's just giving that grace to people, because we're all kind of horrible.
Yes.
But he loves us anyway. He loves us anyway.
That is the gospel.
So it's like, acknowledge that. Think about that the next time somebody really pisses you off. Think about, how have I pissed God off, not only today, let's say the last week, the last 30 days, the last 6 months, my entire life. Let's talk about it with God and see, are you still going to be mad at that person? Like, it is hard, but putting it in that perspective, honestly, made me, because I had so much stress going into this election, and he was just like breaking it down like that. I'm like, Jax, you want to be terrified of who might win the election, whatever, who our president is, but we still got one almighty God. So if you ran for real, what's really about to happen? Because you don't play about his kids. So who can do something to me? What man can do something to me? You know?
Indeed. How was your your faith journey, and kind of where you grew up, and also like, where do you find and see your art going and merging into that? Because, like, you know, you painted that conduit for. Appreciate you always.
Of course.
So like, it's been cool to see, you know, this artistic worship and things. Because I see what you do. I see, like, you know, what the conduit is and stuff. And I see it all as, this is worship.
It is.
Like,
I agree.
Point blank period. Like, this is worship. Just creative worship. Yeah. This still doesn't change. So like, where do you see that now and going and painted and stuff based on like your relationship with God?
Absolutely. So I didn't grow up in church at all. I've told you my come to Jesus story.
Yeah.
I was a lost 22-year-old, literally.
You were smoking weed, right?
Yes. I was in my living room. This is my moment, like, for the first time in my life, right? I was in my living room, smoking a blunt. And I was watching a Kirk Franklin NPR.
Okay.
And I was just, in that point in my life, I was in a place where I didn't want to be. I was living with the ex. Like, I just didn't know where I was about to go. And I broke down. Like, I started crying. I took a shower, and I was crying in the shower. And I was on my knees in the shower praying. And I had never, like, prayed like that before. And that's where the idea came to my mind to, like, apply to come to Regent, right? But I hadn't created for, like, probably like a year and a half, anything before coming here. And when I came here, my relationship with God was growing, because one, I didn't have no money and I didn't have no car. So that forced me to be sober, right? No smoking, no drinking. And then getting closer and closer to God in that time, and just praying and talking to him, that influenced me to start creating. And I viewed my ability as an artist as a gift from God.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's easy to say that and maybe know it, but also to, like, really live in it and walk in it.
Sure.
That changed me completely, because now everything that I'm doing, I realize that whatever goal I have in a piece of art, or whatever I want people to get from it, is ultimately God getting the glory. And he's using me to channel whatever it is that he's trying to say in this work. And it's my responsibility to do it appropriately and to pass the message. And I look at my work as spreading the gospel. So now that I have that awareness and I look at it that way, and it's not just like some whatever thing, like it's like God gave me a job, you know? It kind of makes me take it more serious, because I'm like, when I'm playing around,
Right.
I'm like, all right, the big man is waiting.
Yeah.
Like, you, come on now. Oh my God. There's people out here, there's souls that need saving. There's people out here that think that they alone. There's people out here going through things that think it's just them. And it's like, my point is to say, no, you're not. God is here. He's with us in this artwork. So get to it.
Right.
Get to it.
Right. I love going to like other like art shows or meeting with other artists and like conveying that and stuff. Any pushback or anything?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. I feel like when I lead with God told me to do this, sometimes people can get a little scared, right? But I'm a realist, right? I'm not afraid to talk about who I am, the ways that I've sinned, the way that I fall short, even today, right? So I feel like me meeting people in my humanness and then saying, but this is from God, though. Like, I'm gonna throw it in. I'm gonna throw it in there. You know what I mean? They can't say nothing. They can't say nothing because literally when I was having my open mics, like, it don't matter if I was drunk, if I was anything. I'm not proud to say that, but it has happened like that, right? I'll have my open mics and be talking and saying whatever. And in the midst of that, if the Spirit answers me and is like, I need to thank him in this moment right now in front of all these people, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And I've done it. And my open mic has turned into just a moment of worship. And it's like, a lot of Christians they want to act like God can't be in any space, right? But it's like, I'm never going to close the door on him no matter where I'm at because that's not the most appropriate time and space.
Right.
I'm going to always allow for him to be there, you know? So that's just kind of like, in talking to other artists or talking to other people, especially the spiritual group.
Oh, for sure.
The woke group. My brother, my sister, sun, stars, moons, and rocks. My folks, you know, people. It's just like, I be like, yo, God gave me this gift. If you want to say the universe, say the universe. God gave me this gift, and I'm here to share it with you. And it doesn't matter because He's getting the glory anyway because I'm doing my job. I'm not judging you. I'm not holier than thou. But I'm going to tell you where I got it from. I'm doing my job. He gets the glory at the end of the day. That's really it.
Because I noticed, I'm starting to notice the more I go to some events and stuff, the artistic space is definitely filled with a lot of that, right? It's completely.
A whole lot.
We're just
in the
universe, and manifestation, which I mean, like, so I see once again, like, it's like Acts 16, but like Paul going into like Athens, and he observes, the scenery. He observes what's around him and says, like, I see you're very religious. And like he uses some of their own poets, their own philosophers that quoted things worldly as well, and like flipped it onto the spiritual. So I feel like a lot of times when it comes to Christian art, what we're doing and being an artist and being like faithful to what God has gifted us with is like we're going into these spaces recognizing and appreciating a lot of art, but also seeing those other things, seeing all these things that are contrary to who God is, but also not necessarily judging people, being like, yo, what you just made actually has some truth in it. I know a story about that, actually. Let me tell you about it. Because, like, I've seen some art like that where it's like, do you know what you just painted? They're like, nah, it's just,
Right. They don't
like, nah, that's got some truth in it. And I'm starting to see that more where it's like, it's cool at the same time to see and have those kind of eyes to understand and be able to relate to people in a way where it's like, no, I'm not coming at you that way. Like, I'm speaking their language in a way that is still loving and still like something they understand. Like, so I think the word is like contextualize, like contextualizing wherever you're at, finding what people care about the most and going to those spaces with God.
Yes, and just relate to them. I think that is literally the gift of discipleship and evangelism.
Yes.
Because it's like, if you are ever stepping into a space holier than now, you're wrong. You're wrong. Like, something that you said to me like way long ago, probably like last year, we were talking about Christian artists and rappers, and you said that you don't like referring to these rappers as Christian rappers because they're just rappers. And I look at it the same way. Like, because I know the truth and I have an awareness that God is in my life, I'm not going to lead and say I'm a Christian artist.
Right.
I'm Tyra.
Yeah.
God is in me.
Yeah.
I'm his child, right? And wherever I go, that's just going to be that.
Yeah.
That's just gonna be that. Exactly. That's literally like...
I don't need to like extra. Like I'm an evangelistic artist, prophetic.
That is just like, I don't need to give myself any type of title.
Yeah.
I'm just going to enter a space and relate with people and love them the way that Jesus has loved us all.
Be an artist.
That's it. That's literally it. And whatever may happen from that experience,
Right.
because maybe that person has never had an actual love experience with somebody in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows,
There's your
right?
chance,
That's up to him, but he gets the glory because I did my job.
Yeah. Facts.
That's it. I love you. I love this. That's it.
Sure. It don't change. Yeah. Yeah. And it's been a blessing to like see your growth, like, and just see a lot of people's growth. Like I've seen so many people in the art community here, and to see their growth of not necessarily just their artwork, but in touch with the community and some of the spaces that like we've been a part of and things like that have just been just cool to see, and we're reaching a lot of people.
Yes.
Unknowingly. Like something you say something, and I was like, "Oh, you do spoken word too?" I'm like, "Yeah, that too, I guess."
Yes. Please, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing to see like your art and like just art in general. Because I see Virginia, I see Norfolk, like they care a lot about art, and overall, and just seeing people like light up the world, like light up 757 with like art that points back to its creator. Creating something that points back to its creator is like it's so amazing to be a part of. I'm just I keep going.
Thank you. You
Keep going for sure.
I feel like in general, and this is what I was kind of saying before, like I had to realize that creating anything that you are gifted with is automatically tied to God, whether you know it or not, because you can easily shy away from it, be scared to do it and pursue it. But it's like he literally gave you that gift.
Facts. And there's some
For a
gifted people.
Yes,
There's
exactly.
gifted people, just because you don't acknowledge God, I don't mean anything from it.
And exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like, you know how people might say, like, you do spoken word, right? There may be a whole bunch of poets, so like, why should I? But you have to realize that there's one you, and he created you and chose to give that to you because only you could do it in that way.
Right.
So I think the minute you allow yourself to have the audacity to do that, he's getting the glory.
Facts.
So it's always, it doesn't even have to, you don't have to mention God in your work, period. The fact that you're doing it and you're creating it, he's getting the glory.
Back to him. Yeah. Well, y'all, once again, this is Tyra Billy, amazing artist. Where can they follow you? Where can they see the art?
At empress.ty.art on Instagram or empress._ty.
Okay.
Yep.
You got any events coming up?
Actually, well, stay tuned because I don't got the date yet.
Okay.
But I'm planning something similar to Conduit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know.
It's going to be spoken word, open mic, live music, worship experience. But we're also going to have a sneak peek into a Black church exhibition that's going to be a part of that. Yeah. So there's going to be art on the walls.
Okay.
It's going to be a whole thing.
Okay.
So I'll keep you up to date on that.
Hey, go and give her a follow for sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you once again. This is a Say Something podcast. I got something to say. And yeah, we out.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.
Take care.